Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra. While the horrific memories of Rahul Bhatt's murder are still fresh in our minds, another threat has been issued to the Pandits living in the valley. This time, Pakistani-backed terror outfit TRF has threatened Kashmiri Pandit government employees of more targeted killings, for which the Kashmiri Pandit employees are demanding the government for relocation and strict action against the terror outfit. Earlier this month, TRF had made public a list of the Kashmiri Pandit employees working under Prime Minister Modi's rehabilitation package, and the militant groups in the Union Territory have had threatened to scale up the violence against Kashmiri Pandits, at which the Kashmiri Pandits have been protesting for over a month since the last targeted killing. What and who will be of help to the problems of the Kashmiri Pandits that never seems to be solved? And is there going to be more killing in order for the voice of Kashmiris to be heard, or will the Kashmiri Pandits and the employees have to live under fear or perhaps even flee their beloved state? Sumit Peer, political commentator, joins me on the broadcast. Ramesh Raina, Kashmiri Pandit, also with us on the show. Amit Raina, Kashmiri activist, joins us on the program. And Mr. Ved Bhushan, former ACP, is also here with us. Sumit Peer, if I can begin with you, what is the resolution for this problem that the Kashmiri Pandits are facing? One would think that after the Kashmir files came out, there would be some sort of a let-up in the way the government perceives their security and their safety. But it seems nothing much has changed. These people who are threatening the Kashmiri Pandits in Jammu and Kashmir are doing it with a lot of elan and a lot of bravado.
Vinny, thank you for having me on your show. In fact, the unfortunate part is Kashmiri Pandit is a Pandit, he's a Hindu, he's a Kashmiri, and he's a patriot. So the marking on his back is 4 times than a normal target. And they are the people who are unfortunately on the target for any to all terrorist organizations. Irrespective of wherever their allegiance is, Kashmiri Pandit is target number 1. Because if you kill a Kashmiri Pandit, you send a message to India, you send a message to the Hindus, you send a message to Kashmiris, and you send a message to the whole world. That is how this equation looks like. Today, the situation in the valley is not so conducive that you can go out in a remote village and work. Today, the situation is not you can go out in a far-flung government office and work. There are some apartments that are built in here and there, but as long as we have to, if the only one way is that what I've been always saying, these gated communities wherein within those security, wherein the periphery is highly guarded and these people can live and work within there. Today, we have the time of internet and a lot of things can be done over internet. And the kind of jobs which need people to go, either they have to be changed their departments so something has to be done, or they might be changed to safer locations or the city centers where the safety is important. We need the most important thing is safety, because these people are not random targets. They are highly vulnerable targets. The list is itself must be almost authorized by ISI. We know a genocide has happened. We know it can happen again. We know all the efforts done to derail the militancy and to kill them and to eliminate all the terrorists can go for a toss. These people, or the Kashmiri Pandits, are a target. Let's not be naive. They will continue to be targets. It is up to the Republic of India what can be done to protect them and to send a message to Pakistan, look, you cannot kill people at will. And last, I want to say, as long as you have a terrorist with a gun beneath, there are 3 targets. One is a Hindu, Pandit, whatever you want to call. Second is an armed person. Third is a local. They will kill somebody with the gun. If we can eliminate these people with the guns, by the time we have the last of them is not eliminated, we cannot be sure that the situation is under control. If you have even 20, 30 or 50 of them there, remember it took only 18 radicalized jihadis to do World Trade Center. I think there are 100, 150 terrorists which are still looming large there. So with that thing on the ground, situation has improved, it has drastically improved.
Right.
But for a Kashmiri Pandit, it's not so good that he can go and move freely.
And it's, Amit Raina, it's not only about who the actual perpetrator of these murders is going to be or has been. It's the fact that the support system that works to assist them in carrying out these activities is also to be dismantled and dismembered by the government, and only the government can do that.
The one thing that has not changed after abrogation of Article 370, many things have changed in Kashmir. One thing that hasn't changed is the continuous genocide of Kashmiri Pandits. And why is that so happening? Because unfortunately the government, the state of India, has gone and tried to make an economic package into a rehabilitation package. The whole idea of PM package was to create an economic package and survival package of the community which was living in distress. Now you try to club it as a survival package, as a rehabilitation package, and send them as guinea pigs back to Kashmir with a hope that things have now. You never have addressed basic concerns which have happened in 89-90. So without addressing those concerns, you again send them back as guinea pigs and hope things will now be right. So it will never be right. And it is not about whether you have 18 terrorists in Kashmir, 150 or 300. First, there is a confusion within the government itself. The army claims there are 300 terrorists left. The administration claims that there are only 100 left. Irrespective of whether there is one left, 800, 100 or 300 left, the truth is that there is an ecosystem, as you rightly said, there is an ecosystem which is available for them to go kill and go again back into hiding into society. So while you have been able to curtail the public demonstration against India, against the administration, against the government, you have been able to curb the visible separatist writ. You have been able to curb the stone pelting. What you have not been able to dismantle is the ecosystem, because you have not been able to work on the radicalized mindset that is looming in Kashmir right now. You have not been able to de-radicalize the society which believes that Kashmir is only for a certain community. Now, how can an aborigines of Jammu and Kashmir Valley be an outsider? How can they be accused of usurping something which they have equal right to? I'm not saying it belongs only to them, they have equal right to. The threat letters are clear that Kashmiri Hindus are being targeted for their religion. Kashmiri Hindus are being targeted for their patriotism. Kashmiri Hindus are targeted for being the visible symbol of India in Kashmir. Even if you look at the condemnation that has happened from the political parties in Jammu and Kashmir, especially the PDP and National Conference, statements coming from Mehboob Mufti and Dr. Farooq Abdullah, they all condemn central government's failure on security of Kashmiri Pandits. Yes, there is a failure on security of Kashmiri Pandits, but there is not even a single word on Pakistan, condemning Pakistan or condemning the jihadi elements. Why is that so? Because they themselves are very much part of the ecosystem. So how do you tackle this nonsense? For that, you will have to acknowledge what has happened to Kashmiri Pandits is akin to genocide. It is a genocide. You will have to bring in laws which punishes people who are equally culpable in the genocide. Today, your IPC sections and CRPC sections are not competent enough to prosecute Farooq Abdullah or Mehbooba Mufti or other people in administration, because there is no provision on being collaborator on genocide. But when you bring in genocide laws, which India is a signatory to at UN, you bring in something like Nuremberg trials, you will be able to punish and create that deterrent in the society, that ecosystem. You will have to go and break that ecosystem, and that ecosystem can be only broken when you punish everyone who supports that ecosystem. It is not only the hand that picks up the gun and kills. It is also the mind that influences him. It is also the house that gives that shelter to that person. It is also that person which comes in front and hides the terrorist once he kills an innocent person. So there's a lot of work that is to be done, and foremost, the government of India has to go and acknowledge that what is happening in Kashmir is jihad. It is not a lack of development issue. And secondly, they need to work extra time on de-radicalization. And third and foremost thing, if you want us to be sent back as sacrificial lamb, we have no issues. Then you need to put us in one place settlement, because lack of numbers is what killed us in 89-90. Lack of numbers cannot be again the reason for getting us killed. You put us in one place settlement, you arm us, and we will fight it out. You cannot send us as a sitting duck across the valley for us to be targeted without any arms, without any ways of self-defense. You give us one place settlement, you give us arms, we know how to defend us.
Right, absolutely. That's a great point that you have raised. Ramesh Raina, if you're there with us.
Yeah.
Is it also important to actually categorize and, call what exactly is happening in Kashmir? Amit is of the opinion that, this has to be treated like jihad, but perhaps there is a softness of perception that is still leading to the death of our Kashmiri brothers.
See, first of all, we have to understand that all the successive governments, right from 1990 onwards, I may say that even before that, they are in a denial mode. And that denial mode is that Kashmiri Pandits have been made irrelevant to the whole socio-psychological memory of Kashmir. What we have seen, after each killings, political statements are made, and then the whole issue is forgotten. Let me tell you, there is a fundamental difference between jihad and terrorism. Terrorism, of course, has been curbed to a larger extent, but the jihad ideology continues to be there. It is getting support from relevant quarters. It has a constituency, and that jihad is mainly meant against Kashmiri Pandits and non-Muslim minorities. Let me tell you, there are almost 40 persons, including security officials, who have been killed from 2017. That is what the official records say. And 28 persons from the tail end of 2021 till date have been killed. So there is a pattern. There is an uninterrupted continuity in the whole thing. What happened in 1990 continues to be done even till date. Let me go a little back and let me talk to you about the history. Jona Raja was a Kashmiri historian. He writes a book by the name of Divitya Rajatarangni somewhere in 1450, where he mentions Jati Vidvansh. If you translate that Jati Vidvansh means genocide. So that means that Jati Vidvansh has been happening for the past 800 years. And it is this Jati Vidvansh which was picked up by United Nations and who defined it as the genocide. Therefore, we have to understand that we cannot keep it under the carpet anymore. We cannot treat it just one more killing. We have to understand that there is a target, and that target is a Kashmiri Pandit, and that Kashmiri Pandit is like a sitting duck there with he is being made as a politically orphaned community there, and they have to fend for themselves. Therefore, Government of India has to come out with a policy on Kashmiri Pandits living there, a separate policy from the Kashmir policy that is being pursued. And the predominant features of that policy must be security, must be to guard these, you see, you have to understand, very recently, Nado Lapid comes here, he makes a terse remark against the Kashmir Files movie. And Nado Lapid only added fuel to the fire. He provided an ideological platform to these people. And from that onwards, you will see the rage has increased, the number of killings have increased. Let me tell you here, I take this opportunity to tell you that All India Kashmiri Samaj, of which I am the head, we're going to hold an All India AIKS affiliate meet on January 21st, which coincides with the Holocaust Day at Ambala. And we are going to come out with certain things, what has to be done and what has not to be done. We want to, you see, there is almost a consensus amongst the political parties, be that national political party or be that local political party. There is a pattern. All these people, all these political platforms have treated Kashmir as if they are the sons, as if they are the children of the lesser gods. Therefore, my first and foremost thing, what I wish to communicate, what I wish to convey through this platform is that Kashmir needs a separate Kashmiri Pandit policy. Because we have to understand there are about 4,000 to 5,000 Kashmiri Pandit employees sitting there, and they are like hostages. They are like prisoners. It's an open prison for them. Imagine, they have been protesting for the past 250 days. They have been telling the government, please look after us. Please tell us. They merely make statements. For example, Amit ji said that the political parties have blamed the failure of the central government. Is it the failure of the central government? What is civil society of Kashmir doing? Has civil society of Kashmir condemned it in a manner it ought to have? For example, a few months back, if any militant used to be killed by security forces, lakhs of people would join his mourning procession. They would mourn his death. They would create symbols in his name. But unfortunately, Even a single death has not sparked that kind of kindness in them. Has the milk of humanity dried in Kashmir? I am only posing a question to the civil society and civil society institutions of Kashmir. If they expect government of India to do heavens for them, bring heavens for them down to the earth, what is their responsibility? It is only because these people think that we have achieved what they could not imagine. They have achieved an Islamic Kashmir within India. And now, when the seeds of pluralism, when the seeds of secularism are being re-implanted by India, by the politicians of India, by the country, they think it as a defeat for themselves. Therefore, it's absolutely mandatory for the government, for the agencies, for the civil society institutions to allow the process of replanting of secularism, replanting of pluralism in an unhindered manner. Let me tell you, Kashmiri Pandits constitute a factorial importance in the plural and secular construct of Kashmir. There's an attempt to erase these people from the socio-psychological memory of Kashmir, and that is not going to happen. And I'm telling you that we are holding an AIKS conclave at Ambala on 21st of January. We're going to come out with AIKS agenda, and we are going to talk to the powers that be. We will have MG, we will have Sumit ji along with us, and ensure that this is done.
Okay, all right, sir. Ved Bhushan ji, आप मेरी बात सुन पा रहे हैं? वेद भूषण जी, वेद भूषण जी, जब आर्टिकल 370 एब्रोगेट हुआ था, तब उम्मीद ये थी, अपेक्षा ये थी कि जो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की जो स्थिति है, जो आतंकवाद का एक जो रवैया है लोगों की तरफ, निहत्थे और इनोसेंट लोगों की तरफ, वो बदल जाएगा। पर अभी भी एक तरह से एक कम्युनिटी के लिए वहाँ पर रहना जीना दुश्वार है। ये किसकी जिम्मेदारी है कि वहाँ पर खुशहाली हो, वहाँ पर न्याय हो और वहाँ पर इन आतंकवादियों का खात्मा कर दिया जाए?
विनीत जी, जब पुलिस के अंदर या आर्मी के अंदर ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है तो एक सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड होता है कि हमारी ड्यूटी है जान व माल की हिफाजत करना। ही रिपीटेडली सैकड़ों हजारों लाखों बार पुलिस की ट्रेनिंग में, पुलिस की नौकरी के दौरान बताया जाता है कि स्टेट की रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि वहां के लोगों की सिक्योरिटी और उनकी प्रॉपर्टी की रक्षा करना। मैं 1983 से दिल्ली पुलिस में मैंने नौकरी भी कर ली, रिटायर भी हुआ, पर 1990 के बाद में जब से पलायन का दौर शुरू हुआ और इस दिल्ली ने कश्मीरी पंडितों का पलायन को देखा है, यहाँ पर कॉलोनीज है, यदि आप उनकी कहानी सुनेंगे तो लोग मतलब पसीना आता, डर लगता है कि कैसे वहां पर वो लोग रह रहे थे। बड़ी उम्मीद थी कि 370 खत्म होने के बाद में शायद वहां पर कुछ राहत मिलेगी, जिस तरह से गवर्नमेंट ने कमिटमेंट किया था कि यहां से बहुत सारे लोगों को बसाया जाया था। यूनाइटेड टेरिटरीज के जो यूटी कैडर है उसमें भी ये फैसिलिटी दी गई कि जो पुलिस ऑफिसर्स है कश्मीर से दिल्ली लाए जाएंगे और दिल्ली से कश्मीर भेजे जाएंगे, परंतु हालात जस के तस है। अभी जो रेलोकेशन की बात हो रही है, वहां जो कश्मीरी जो नौकरी कर रहे हैं वो बहुत हायर लेवल के ऑफिसर्स नहीं है, लोअर और मिडिल क्लास के एम्प्लॉय हैं, सरकारी एम्प्लॉय हैं। जिस तरह से ट्रांजिट कैंप में वो लोग रहते हैं, जिस तरह से वहां पर डर का माहौल बना हुआ है, लगातार टारगेटेड किलिंग हो रही है, तो ये तमाम वेकअप कॉल है सरकार के लिए कि डेस्पाइट ऑल एफर्ट्स वी आर ऑलमोस्ट फेल। हमें एक्सेप्ट कर लेना चाहिए। अभी मिस्टर रैना ने और मिस्टर अमित रैना ने दोनों ने इसी बात को कहा था, और मैं
वेद भूषण जी, आपकी आवाज़ चली गई, आपको सुन नहीं पा रहा हूं मैं। वेद भूषण जी, मैं आपकी आवाज़ नहीं सुन पा रहा हूँ। सुमित, I'll come to you. वेद भूषण जी, आपकी आवाज़ नहीं आ रही। सुमित, if you can hear me?
I can hear you, Vineet, loud and clear.
Right. Sumit, we know the issues, we know the problems, we know the challenges, we also know the criteria that prevails when it comes to taking out terrorism in any part of the world. What do you think is the dire need of the hour to protect these people who have been put out in this list? What kind of an extra or incremental security apparatus and ecosystem do we need to put there and produce there so that it's a foolproof safe haven for anybody who wants to live in Kashmir? Let's not forget that investment is still being attracted into that part of our country. People are still looking to make aims and to make cinema halls, to make PVRs and whatnot. But that all is at stake if these kinds of stories and these kinds of threats continue to emanate.
You see, Vineet, Kashmiri Pandit or Hindu is on the highest priority of terrorists. He carries a very fat dartboard on his back, and he is the target. We cannot deny that. Now, the thing is, whatever you want to do here and there, but Pakistan and RISI will derail it by killing a Kashmiri Pandit. He is on the target. What is to be done immediately? I have 4 or 5 steps in mind. I've been always saying this. I have not changed my stand. First of all, these all people, if they are in the valley, wherever they are, they should be within the gated communities, which have to be protected. Time has not come yet. You can let them go in the out open in the villages and province, and they can do their job. That's the point number 1 you have to do. And systematically, when the things open up, when the things are better, few years down the line, maybe they are able to go, and these gated communities are no longer there. Israel kind of settlements is the answer as on date. In due course of time, it might change. We don't know. Secondly, we should not take the terrorist threats easily, because these are the people who have been the target. They faced a genocide, and this can happen again. Let's not be naive about it. Point number 3 is that these people represent India. They represent Hindus. They represent a patriotic India. And that is why they are on the hit list of ISI, on Pakistan Army, as well as the terrorists. So with all these things going on, Vineet, the most important mantra is right now, Jaan hai, Jahan hai. If there are some people out there still who are unprotected, we can always move them within the military cantonments. As far as the office and all can happen, they can run their offices from there and whatever. Or if there is not enough security, move them back to Jammu. And when the things settle and when the things are better, you can look at the whole situation. And I agree with Rana Sahab where he says a Kashmiri Pandit policy has to be thought of separately. Your Kashmir policy and all is good, but there has to be a separate policy for them, wherein the safety, security, reallocation has to be taken at a different level. There are options like Panun Kashmir and all, which are on the table. They have to be explored. Serious introspection needs to be done, because mixing it with the Kashmir policy may not help the overall objective.
Vineet, I would
all
like
right, okay,
comment.
go ahead. Go ahead, Amit Raina, go ahead.
I would not agree with my friend Sumit on putting these employees into so-called gated communities. I don't think we are out to create any Holocaust camp, because that is what you are planning to do. And as Dr. Ramesh said, open air prisons. There are no open air prisons required. Immediate and foremost thing that needs to be done is you need to move back the employees to rest of outside valley, and if required to rest of India, if the Jammu region cannot absorb few thousand employees. And those employees are quite willing and happy to serve even in Ladakh, which requires trained manpower, as well as rest of India. I think that's the first and the foremost thing, because you today cannot guarantee the safety of Kashmiri Pandit. You cannot treat him as a sheep and a herd that who is within a gated community of 100 square yards or 500 square yards or 1 acre. I don't think that works. Second is that you need to create a clear policy, and that clear policy, as I said, see what happened in 1991 is to understand. Many people accuse us of not fighting back. We are accused of cowardice, but they don't realize the fact that Kashmiri Pandit, being an aborigine, was scattered across the valley. So you had villages where there were 1 Hindu families, you had mohallas where there were 2 Hindu families, and in spite of how brave anyone can be, it was impossible to fight lakhs of guns that were targeted at you, and lakhs of people who wanted to come and pick up your women, rape them, and make them slaves. So the foremost thing that happened was that Kashmiri Hindu went to save the dignity of his household and went to save his life. Now you are again putting us in the same situation back in the valley. You need to put us at one place settlement, because unlike 1990, this time we do not want to be killed again for the lack of numbers, because once we are there, you need to learn from your own successful experiments in Jammu region, in Bhadrawa, in Doda, in Kishtwar, where the Hindu villages, which were a combined population of Hindus living where armed and BDCs were created, and that is why how the exodus of Jammu province, especially the Chenab Valley, was averted by providing arms and by making them live together, by giving them the numerical strength, and that is exactly what needs to be done. Third, as I said, is you need to deliver justice. You have zero conviction. You are expecting a Kashmiri Pandit to breathe a system which has delivered zero conviction in last 32 years. We have seen how Supreme Court has treated us, and if Supreme Court has not treated us well, nothing stops the government of India from initiating an SIT, setting up fast-track courts, and punishing the people. That has also not happened. So you will have to work with a specific mindset of solving this problem instead of doing short-term arrangements by creating economic packages and rehabilitation packages and sending.
Okay, Amit, we have run out of time. Let me just quickly take concluding thoughts from Mr. Ramesh and Mr. Ved Bhushan as well, and then we wrap up. Mr. Ramesh Raina, coming to you. 30 seconds, please. Concluding thoughts. How do we solve this issue?
See, the whole issue is very complex. It cannot be dealt with kid gloves. It cannot be dealt by taking it as a mere administrative problem. It's not an administrative problem. It is a jihad mentality. It is a jihad, and we cannot anymore be complacent with it, and we cannot anymore continue to be in a denial mode. As I said, that it needs a separate policy for Kashmiri Pandits where security imperative has to be at the uppermost. That is number one. Number two, you need to adopt a healing touch policy for Kashmiri Pandits living in Kashmir and Prime Minister package employees. Just listen to them. Just unki peeth thapthapaiye. They are working for the state. They are working for the country. They are the representatives of secularism. They are representatives of pluralism. Let me tell you, Kashmiri Pandits constitute the first line of natural defense for India in Kashmir. To keep that sentiment up, there needs to be a fresh approach. There needs to be a fresh path. A new path needs to be adopted, and that path has to come from the administration. And the local political parties of the Kashmir, they cannot shun they cannot keep their eyes closed and just merely go on blaming the government of India for the failures. Imagine there was a rule of local political parties for till 1990, even afterwards. What have they done? How have they protected these Kashmiri Pandit minorities? We have seen Sangrampuras, we have seen Vandhamas during the political rule in the valley of Kashmir. Therefore, it is absolutely important for the civil society institutions and the mainstream political parties of the state to ensure their security and to help the government of India to find a separate policy for Kashmiri Pandits, both living in the valley and employees.
वेद भूषण जी, 15 सेकंड, ये समस्या कैसे सुलझेगी कश्मीर में, और क्या क्या करना पड़ेगा केंद्र सरकार को, और क्या क्या करना पड़ेगा ताकि हमारे कश्मीरी पंडित भाई इस तरीके से उनका, जैसे आपने कहा, पलायन ना हो?
अमित रैना ने बहुत अच्छी एक बात कही है कि जो वहां पर प्रोफेशनलिज्म है पुलिस का ऑलमोस्ट जीरो है। मैं जब भी वहां इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए गया हूं, मर्डर केसेस की इन्वेस्टिगेशन की जो मैंने वहां दुर्दशा देखी है, कन्विक्शन तो छोड़ दीजिए, वहां पर अपनी उनकी लेबोरेटरी भी नहीं है जहां वो एग्जिबिट्स बेचकर तमाम इन्वेस्टिगेशन को आगे बढ़ा सके। कन्विक्शन तो बहुत दूर की बात है। इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, क्योंकि सरकार ने वायदा किया था यूटी कैडर करने के बाद में तमाम पुलिस ऑफिसर्स को कश्मीर से दिल्ली भेजा जाएगा, दिल्ली से कश्मीर भेजा जाएगा, परंतु उस पर अभी तक एग्जीक्यूशन नहीं हो पाया। सरकारें बैठी हुई हैं, और जो एक वायदा किया गया था कश्मीरी से कि वहां पर हम अपनी पुलिस एकेडमीज, आर्मी वहां पर पुलिस के स्कूल्स खोलेंगे, अभी तक उस दिशा में कोई भी एग्जीक्यूशन नहीं हुआ। ये तमाम चीजें होती तो शायद वहां पर बहुत सारे दिल्ली से, दूसरे स्टेट से लोग जाके बसते, क्योंकि वहां इस तरह का माहौल सेफ्टी सिक्योरिटी का नहीं है। उस वजह से बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम कश्मीर में आ रही है। सरकार को इन टोटलिटी, इन सब चीजों को जब तक उस पर एक्ट नहीं करेंगे, तब तक वहां पर सफलता,
जब तक स्टेबिलिटी को सीरियसली नहीं लिया जाएगा, तब तक these problems will continue to happen, and these terrorists will continue to have their way around. Thank you everyone for being a part of this conversation. We are going to dip into a short break. More news and updates coming up on the other side.